Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. We're about to dive into a very important topic with the presentation titled The Truth About Modern Marriage. In this session, we'll explore why modern expectations often clash with building sustainable relationships and why many men are quietly choosing to walk away. We'll look at the fundamental differences in how marriage is viewed today and what might be done to create healthier, more balanced partnerships. So let's get started and uncover the truths that could change how we see marriage and commitment. I think it's important to recognize that a man simply cannot be everything, everywhere, all the time, and expect to receive nothing in return. It's an impossible standard. This slide highlights that what some modern women are asking for isn't just a partner. It's almost like an impossible product. Imagine someone who can read her mind, but also surprise her. Someone romantic enough to be like a movie, but practical enough to handle everyday tasks like an accountant. Someone who helps with housework, but still maintains a strong, masculine frame. And at the same time, he's emotionally open but never weak. He earns 6 figures but is home by 5 p.m. The key point here is that these expectations are often unrealistic, yet they're becoming the norm. What we're really seeing is that modern women aren't just asking for a partner anymore. They're asking for a shape-shifting, supernatural servant. It's this rise of impossible expectations that creates a lot of pressure and confusion for men. This slide sets the stage for understanding how these changing, often contradictory, demands are reshaping relationships today. What we're seeing here is the modern dynamic in many relationships today. Her existence is viewed as a contribution in itself, almost like her presence is a gift that she offers simply by being there. Meanwhile, his contributions tend to be seen as doing the bare minimum, what's expected or required. Her presence is celebrated as a gift, something valuable in and of itself. Everything else that happens, like managing the household, earning money, or supporting the family, is considered his job. When he asks what she's working on, she might reply with a list of 23 tasks, ranging from earning more money and being more spontaneous, to helping with the kids and working out more. I once saw a client share his wife's marriage improvement list, which really struck me. It highlights this shift in the dynamic, where she is the gift, the one who brings value simply by existing, and he is the laborer, responsible for doing the work. This new marriage dynamic flips traditional roles, creating an expectation that her presence alone is enough, and his role is to handle everything else. It's a fascinating shift that ties into the larger theme of how modern relationships are evolving, often placing more emotional and mental labor on women, while men are left to fulfill their duties. So, here's an example to illustrate a common dynamic many people might recognize. Imagine a woman who demands 2 hours of emotional check-ins from her husband every day, but she doesn't offer the same in return. And when you look at that, it's not really love. It's more like emotional vampirism. It's a one-sided exchange, where one person is constantly taking without giving back. Sometimes that's dismissed with a curt "you're trauma dumping, go to therapy," but we need to dig deeper. When her husband is stressed, exhausted, or overwhelmed, suddenly it's all about her needs. Her boredom becomes his problem, her insecurity is something he's supposed to reassure endlessly. Her sadness, that's his job to fix. Her emotions, they become his responsibility. And here's the key point. Many modern women genuinely believe that this kind of emotional entitlement is the new norm. They see it as just what relationships are supposed to be. But in reality, this shifts the entire dynamic. It's important to recognize that emotional entitlement can distort healthy partnerships and cultivate imbalance. That's what I want us to really understand today. That many people, consciously or not, operate under this belief that their emotional needs should always come first, no matter what. Men don't leave because of one big mistake. They leave because, over time, nothing they do ever feels enough. It's not just about one moment of criticism or one dismissive gesture. It's about the accumulation of small things, zero appreciation, one criticism too many, a dismissed attempt, or an ignored effort. These tiny issues might seem minor, but together, they create an imbalance that slowly erodes the marriage. Instead of dramatic explosions, it's more like 100 tiny paper cuts, each one small, but collectively painful. This constant imbalance is fueled by unrealistic expectations around perfection, performance, and provision. Men often feel they must constantly prove their worth, simply for existing, for respecting their partner, for showing affection. They believe they deserve devotion just for being there, respect without needing to earn it, and affection without prerequisites. Meanwhile, modern culture often teaches women that relationships are a matter of exchange, care for care, effort for effort, time for time. But this creates a kind of reciprocity collapse. Instead of mutual giving and receiving, it becomes a transactional dynamic. This imbalance, this breakdown of genuine reciprocity, is what really kills marriages over time, slowly and quietly. So the system is rigged, and men seem to know it, even if they don't always say it out loud. For example, he missed one school play, and suddenly he's cast as the villain, as if that one missed event defines him. Meanwhile, her life might include a yoga membership, a nanny, cars, private school, and their house, all of which are often seen as normal or expected. But behind the scenes, many men are working long hours, sometimes 70 hours a week, to pay for his career, bills, and stability, which are considered the baseline. Her chores, in many cases, are framed as sacrifices, while he's just trying to keep everything afloat. There's a pattern here, the selective accounting that exhausts men. Sometimes, without even realizing it, they're only counting what they do right or what they're expected to do, ignoring their own exhaustion. This can lead to endless cycles of dysfunction if there's no self-awareness. And a lot of this isn't about flaws, it's about humble bragging. Men might say, "I give too much," or "I care too much," as if those are faults, but in reality, they're just trying to do right. I've also seen women who literally can't name a single thing they do wrong, which highlights a kind of denial or avoidance. Often, the man becomes the project to fix, while she's seen as the long-suffering saint. Every issue is blamed on his inadequacy, and every conflict is his fault. Many women position themselves as morally superior, crafting what I'd call the new victim narrative, where they see themselves as victims to justify their own actions and feelings. This pattern feeds into a cycle where blame and superficial righteousness take center stage, making it hard to have honest, constructive conversations. That's a key point to keep in mind as we explore how these dynamics shape modern relationships. When everything becomes labeled as abuse, it's the real victims who suffer, and genuine relationships can really suffer or even die. People might suggest they drink less, ask for help, want intimacy more often, or request boundaries with an ex, things that are actually normal parts of healthy relationships. They might even ask for a financial contribution or call men abusive for things like narcissism, toxicity, gaslighting, or just having a disagreement. Today, it seems like every small disagreement or normal conflict gets labeled as abuse, overusing the language and blurring the lines. It's important to remember that partnership isn't about renovation or fixing someone. It's about growing together. But then, some act surprised when their partner resents being treated like a construction project, like he's simply a fixer-upper home. They try to upgrade him, improve him, or change him, treating him not as a person to grow with, but as something to redesign. Many women enter relationships with what I call the renovation project mindset, viewing their partner as a project to be fixed or improved. And this approach can really distort the true purpose of a relationship, making it about remodeling rather than connection and mutual support. This slide highlights a common issue in communication between men and women. What often happens isn't real communication at all, but rather telepathy. And as we know, telepathy always fails. For example, she might get upset because he didn't offer help, but he's confused because she didn't ask for it directly. He hears, "The house is messy," but what she really means is, "I'm overwhelmed and I need you." Women tend to speak in hints, expecting men to read between the lines, while men prefer to speak directly. This disconnect leads to what we call a communication breakdown, because mind reading simply isn't a skill most of us have. And here's a key point. Men are actually starving for kindness in their own homes, and often no one even recognizes it. A small act of care can hit deeper than any expensive gift. I've seen this firsthand, like a client who nearly cried because his wife cooked his favorite meal after months of hostility. But modern culture often makes women feel that doing these caring things makes them pick-me's, so they hold back. What men really need isn't grand gestures or big displays of affection. It's simple, consistent kindness, peace at home, affection, appreciation, and warmth. And that's what they're craving, just basic kindness. It's incredible how much impact a small act can have when it's genuine. Now let's look at what real partnership truly involves. It's about two people serving each other, not one person serving while the other critiques or expects perfection. Real partnership is built on humility, emotional support, shared responsibility, appreciation, mutual respect, and reciprocity. These are the foundations that keep a marriage healthy and sustainable. A marriage that lacks acknowledgement and appreciation quickly turns into resentment. And that's not out of spite, it's often out of self-preservation. When people feel unseen or unappreciated, they tend to emotionally shut down, detach, withdraw, and stop trying altogether. When men feel unrecognized or undervalued, nothing kills a marriage faster than the absence of appreciation. This is what we often call the death of gratitude. It shatters the fantasy of the perfect relationship and reveals the reality that their partner is tired, human, imperfect, and sometimes it feels like they've been cheated. Today's curated images, whether from high-value alpha male montages, Instagram couples, or TikTok therapists, create unrealistic expectations. Women compare their real partners to these idealized, often false, portrayals. Social media poisons reality, making it seem like everyone else's marriage is perfect, and that's not true. This is a big reason why marriage rates are declining. It's not necessarily because men are failing. Many are simply opting out because they see a guaranteed loss. They think, I can't meet your expectations, and then decide, I won't participate anymore. Men often shift from endless emotional labor, expecting zero appreciation, to feeling overwhelmed by impossible expectations and moving goalposts. Constant criticism and exhaustion leave many men feeling drained. It's important to realize modern men aren't weak, they're exhausted. Sometimes, women have destroyed their marriages because manipulation seemed easier than communication. When tears stop working as a tool, they escalate to threats. When threats lose impact, divorce becomes the next step. One woman admitted that she cried during fights to win arguments, using tears as a weapon. Silence to punish, anger to intimidate, tears to control. These are all forms of emotional warfare. And unfortunately, the children often pay the highest price. Men stop trying, not because they don't care, but because trying often leads to conflict. When every parenting decision they make is reversed, undermined, or overruled, it's disheartening. They can feel excluded, gate-kept, micromanaged. Behind the scenes, many men do everything with the kids, yet mothers often claim parenting inequality and accuse fathers of gatekeeping. This superiority complex kills intimacy because nobody wants to be with someone who sees them as inferior. In healthy partnerships, the partner must adapt. Standards should be met, emotions valued, and respect mutual. But many modern women believe that their way is the only right way, and that creates a cycle of control and martyrdom. On one side, you have the controller, managing everything but respecting nothing. On the other, the martyr, doing everything and complaining endlessly. Both extremes are destructive. They kill the very foundation of a loving, balanced marriage. So, in essence, these two extremes, superiority and martyrdom, are what threaten to destroy marriage from within. Recognizing these patterns is crucial if we want to build partnerships based on mutual respect, genuine effort, and shared happiness. Love requires effort, humility, and partnership. It's not about feeling superior, nor about chasing perfection or taking everything unilaterally. True love is a two-way street, built on mutual respect and understanding. because entitlement and love simply cannot coexist. When we approach relationships with a sense of entitlement, we block the genuine connection that love needs to thrive. If we don't embrace reciprocity, men may keep walking away, women might keep wondering where all the good men went, and families will continue to face collapse. The harsh reality is, until modern culture recognizes the importance of giving and receiving equally, happy, lasting marriages will remain elusive. So, what can we do? We can choose reality over fantasy, acknowledging that perfect relationships don't exist, but meaningful ones do. We can prioritize partnership over ego, putting the relationship above our own pride. We need to accept human imperfection, understanding that no one is perfect, and that's okay. We all have a role in making relationships work. Contribute where you can, appreciate what you receive, and give what you want to get in return. Because at the end of the day, the solution isn't complicated. The future of marriage depends on one core principle: reciprocity. When we truly embrace that, we lay the foundation for healthier, more fulfilling relationships for everyone.